Hello and welcome to my workshop. Today I'm just going to be doing a review and test of this little inverter arc welder from Banggood. It is the MinLeaf Zx7-250. Claims to be able to do 250 amps. It can't. Let's just have a look inside the box. Don't get a lot in the box. You get those, which are there if you want to make up your own leads. I don't. I'll come back to that. And you get the welder. Let's just chuck the stuff I'm not going to use back in the box. Okay, so you also get instructions which are not particularly useful. That's it. You get a welder without a plug. I will fit a plug off camera in a minute. Useful thing you can do, very briefly, is to check the earth continuity. And in fact, I'm just going to open this up so you can see what it looks like inside in a minute. So let's get that open. Lose the bag. Right, so little welder, on off switch on the back, reasonably thick cable, and your twiddly knob on the front, and hopefully that dial there tells you where you're pointing the twiddly knob at. It doesn't necessarily tell you anything useful apart from where you're pointing the twiddly knob. We'll come back to that. Now, I've read a review online that claims they've tested it with a clamp meter, and at the bottom reading they think it can produce a maximum of 53 amps and at the top about 120. Both a bit disappointing. I'd hope it could go both lower and a bit higher, but never mind. So we're going to switch the meter to continuity. We're just going to go and stick that on the earth. And we have got earth continuity, which is handy. Right, get rid of that. And out of the way. Quickly open the box just to show you what's in. There is in here, I've seen some takedowns of these that show that there is a fuse in here. Fusible link rather. That fuses out at 180 amps, so definitely. Oh, hold on, different screwdriver set. Right. So there you have it. You have, I believe, a rectifier. Well, I'm not sure if that's one of these has got a rectifier on it, and there are also large, what are called IGBTs, insulated gate bipolar transistors. You've got a nice big bank of capacitors. Some of these only have one. See if I can see the fusible link anywhere, which I can't. In a sec. And what you basically have is a control circuit board on there that controls how much of a chop you get. Oh, actually that's interesting. No, right, so this is just no fusible link, but obviously all the power comes down that line, that there. Not quite sure why there's just that little bit of plastic there. There you have it. There is the inside. I shall just put this back together again, and then we in a sec. And what we're going to try is we're going to try various different thicknesses of metal. We have, so we're going to try midway through. We have some 1mm. It's quite hard to arc weld 1mm. We have about 3mm. We've got some 5mm angle iron, some 5mm plates, And last but not least, we have this nice big chunky bit of 1/2 inch plate. So let me put this together off camera. I'll get set up for doing the welding and all that good stuff, and I shall be back in a sec. Right, there you go. Right, so there's your earth lead up there. Comes in, goes to the earth on the circuit board there, which is also connected to the earth of the case. So that's actually reasonably good, quite happy with that. Anyway, let me put this all back together again and let's try welding. Also, we will be welding from 1.6mm sticks all the way up to 4mm. If it can do 4mm, it's roughly 160 amps. So we'll see if it does 4mm. It should easily do 1.6, 2, 2.5 and 3.25. A couple of things I forgot to mention. The first of which is that it doesn't come with leads. It does come with the ends to make up your own leads, but I bought some leads because they're on offer too. I bought that for 30 quid off of Banggood. I bought these for just over a tenner off Banggood. They got the right ends on them. Let me just show you that. I don't know what these are made of, but that's quite a reasonable looking torch end. And the other thing I forgot to do was show you the open circuit voltage of the welder, which I'm just going to do now. If I just chuck those leads in there and push them in hard, and that, and just get those making a good contact, that stays around 60 volts no matter where you put it on the dial. So that's reasonable, and it should make striking it up a lot easier. So what I'm now going to do is just go and put a little welder's mask across this camera here and set up and do some welding, and we'll see how this this runs. So I'm going to weld with 1.6, 2, 3.25, sorry, 2, 2.5, 3.25 and 4. We'll see how it gets on with each of those. I'm going to start with a 3 and then go for the thinner lines, and we'll see how we get on. So we have a 3mm plate. Just go around through there. 3mm plate. We are attacking it with a 2.5mm electrode. So what I've done up to about midway. Flame at 182 amps, which is probably more like 100. Let's give it a crack. Hold on. Turn my goggles on first. About there. Tack that in a couple of places, and then we'll turn it over and tack it and weld it from the other side. Penetration looks okay. No welding doesn't. So you can see that as we're warm, we have got good penetration all the way through there, so that's quite nice. I'll just get the slag hammer out and tab it up. there's the weld. There's the back side. Penetration's okay. Well, penetration's quite good actually. Right, chuck that somewhere where it can't set fire to anything. Let's try a thicker rod. We are going to go for the 3mm, 3.25mm. If I can work out where it is. Actually, are we? Yeah, we are. So let's just grab a rod out of there. And let's try that. This is 5mm plates. This is going to get almighty hot when I weld it. Just follow that up so it says 200. Should need about 120 amps to do this sort of stuff. Over. Go down this side. Not quite got the penetration I'd like on that side, but I beveled it on both sides so I could come back down the other way. Let's just take that snag off and see what it looks like. Yeah, it's quite nice looking weld then. Let's just stick a heavier weld down the other side. I think that's got some penetration to that one. Right. There you go. This is, by the way, hot enough to to almost burn my hands through these gloves. You need to watch out what you're doing in a welding shop for setting fire to things. So we'll put that out of the way where it can't set fire to anything. Ooh. Right, what we're now going to try, before we try the thin stuff, is a nice big fat 4mm rod. If it can do this, then I'm going to be impressed. Come on. There we go. For a 4mm welding rod. And one massively thick lump of 1/2 inch steel. I'm going to turn that right up to 11. And I'm not planning on picking that piece of metal up anytime soon, because it's going to get very, very, very hot. I'll have to use a pair of pliers to manoeuvre that. Right, let's see if it'll burn a 4mm rod. Well, the answer appears to be yes. Well, you can see how much heat it's dumped in there by the fact that that's gone blue. Not sure how far that weld's penetrated through that thick stuff, but it certainly would burns through a 4mm rod. clearly do with a bit of practice on the thicker stuff. Right, so last but not least, let's turn this right down to about there. And let's try the thin stuff. We have some 1.2mm. Where is my welding tape? Just going to tack that together. And get out of 1.6mm. I'm quite impressed with that at 4mm. That's it burns them. I don't think it's particularly happy about burning it, and I wouldn't recommend it for doing things professionally or doing like that, but I wouldn't recommend this for professional work anyway. But let's just see how that. Biggest problem is getting a strike of these thin rods. Hold on. In the end of that, that's another down. Turn the pain in the arse welding with pain in the neck welding with these. It might be the rods. Well, I'll do for tack. Now the rod's warmed up, it'll presumably weld a bit easier. Hold on. That's 1.2. There's the other side where you can see the penetration is reasonable, and there's what it looks on that side. You need a lot of practice welding thin stuff. So let's go even thinner. This together. So what I'm doing is I'm just filing off any rubbish on the end of the rod every so often. Right, the biggest problem with that is the nature of the welding rods, but there you have it. Let's just knock that slag off, have a look. Actually turn the thing off. Right, so let's just knock that slag off there. So you can see we've got quite a reasonable amount of penetration on that side. Bit messy on that side. However, what you can also see is because we can turn turn it right down. We've achieved reasonably low distortion, so I like that. I think I'm going to need to do a bit of practicing with that, particularly on the very thin stuff and the very thick stuff. I'll do that and I'll come back to you in a little while, let you know how I go on. That cost me, between the pair of those, it cost me about, with shipping and everything else, cost me about 42, 43 quid, something like that. It burns 4mm rods, what can I say? It can get its way through this stuff without too much distortion. Bit of practice, I think, I think you could do 1mm sheet steel. You are better off using a MIG for 1mm sheet steel, but nevertheless it does it. And for this sort of where is it? Crikey, that half-inch stuff is still is still far too hot to pick up. But clearly, 5 and 6mm, not a problem. Doesn't mind that at all. Yeah, I did that. That's the 3mm. Again, not a problem at all. So if you're welding together 3mm box section steel, it's going to be brilliant. There's the stuff. I haven't put the video up yet because there's a lot of it, and I need to edit it down to something sensible. But 3mm box section steel is what I made my lathe stand off of from. So yeah, it's good. Reasonably good. Obviously that's a bit made up, so I think that's probably about, not quite sure what it is at the bottom end, but it goes all the way up to probably about 100 and somewhere between 120 and 160 amps. As I say, it can burn 4mm rods, and it can burn 1.6 and everything in between. So good. Thank you very much for watching. Like, share and subscribe. Oh, and hit the notification bell as well. Thank you very much.